I caught up with a native of this particular state. She lives in Macomb, Mississippi. Actress Aunjanue Ellis. Of course, you see her on a number of television shows, including Designated Survivor, as well as starring in Ava DuVernay's upcoming movie on the Central Park 5 on Netflix. Here's a portion of our conversation.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
As we transition into the holiday season, this is the time when people are started thinking about giving and also sharing. And sometimes the best gift is when you actually present an opportunity to yourself. Give yourself your own gift. That's why our friends at Transatlantic Real Estate have created an investment opportunity for the everyday investor involving legal marijuana and crowdfunding. Now, we all know that legal marijuana has created one of the fastest growing industries in the country, no pun intended. Also know that crowdfunding makes it easy to be an early investor of an opportunity, but it gets even better. What Transatlantic is doing is different, and that is their business model is essentially buying the land that supports marijuana grow operations and leasing it to licensed, high-paying tenants. Now, what that means is you will be a landlord of a licensed marijuana farm in a high-growth market. Now, they're accepting investments for little as $300 up to $10,000 before the company goes public. Now, here's what's important. You must complete and confirm your application to participate. Again, complete your application and confirm your application to participate. Now, you can spend all your holiday money on gifts, but what if you get a return on your investment? You could also could consider making an investment for somebody else, and that could be their gift. That's a hell of a holiday gift. Now, to get started, go to marijuanastock.org, marijuanastock.org, for you to get into the game.
Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.
Folks have actually said to me, they're like, he has no shot. It's a waste. He can't win.
So in the face of that, you resort to acceptance? That's what you do? I mean, that's your strategy, is acceptance? I mean, what if Fannie Lou Hamer accepted her life as a sharecropper in Mississippi? The Democratic Party would not be what it is today if she did that. If we chose the route of acceptance, where would we be? I mean, I hear this all the time because I get very frustrated in the battles that I choose to fight, because I feel like it's just me and a couple other people that's doing it. And folks tell me all the time, you know, Aunjanue, a lot of times in these movements, it was just a couple of people.
Yes.
Who were willing to show up with 2 or 3 touch and agree. You know, that's what essentially made a movement, because it was just a couple folks ready. Now, folks came out for the cameras, came out to be in the street because it was sexy. But the folks that were like really doing the work, it wasn't a whole lot of people doing that.
Well, the Bible does say the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few.
The laborers are few. The laborers are few. So I mean, and also I get that. I have a lot of empathy for that, because if you grow up here, and Mississippi is a culture of low expectations, not just for black folks, for everybody. It's a culture of low expectations. So if I grew up here, and one of the first things that we did before we got out of school, instead of we didn't even know about what the SAT was. We didn't know what the ACT was. I had the vocational counselor happened to be a black man, and we were down there talking to him one day about what, I have no idea. And he said to me and Veronica Stanberry, he said, have you guys taken the ACT yet? Have you guys taken the SAT? And we were in the 11th grade, and we said, what's that? What is that? But I tell you what we had taken. We had taken the ASVAB, and the ASVAB is the admission test for the military. So we were good enough to put our lives on the line, but not good enough to go to college, right? So a man intervened in that to show us that we had another path. If I had stayed on this path of what was Mississippi intended for me, I would not be sitting here talking to you right now. There's no way in the world. But I had to have these interventions that came in all these different sort of directions, because this is a culture of low expectations. And all those things, these symbols, these signs, these instructions that are here, that are everywhere. Everywhere you see a Cindy Hyde-Smith sign, you see a Confederate flag. And I'm very clear that Confederate flag, it is the Confederate flag, but it is the flag of the Ku Klux Klan. because the Confederacy ended essentially in 1865 at the end of the Civil War. What took over?
And that flag was furled, and it was stored.
Yes.
And it disappeared for 2 generations. For folks who don't understand the history, the Democratic Party under Truman decided to have a strong position on civil rights. There was a meeting, there was a conference where that flag returned, and it was held in this state.
Yes.
The Southern Manifesto was written, and that meeting was held in this state in 1948, where that flag reappeared. It had been gone for 2 generations. And so when I hear all these people who talk about, well, no, there's no association with the Confederate flag and race, no.
Yeah.
It was a direct appeal. Southern Manifesto, the Democratic Party on the issue of civil rights, and then, of course, Brown versus Board of Education. Then, of course, all of these schools being named after Confederate leaders, that stuff happened after Brown versus Board of Education. It was all deliberate.
Yeah, it was absolutely deliberate. And that contributes to a culture. And that culture contributes to how people see themselves. And that how people see themselves is when they surrender and when they accept that that guy has no chance because, you know, he's running against a white woman.